I gotta admit, one of the greatest things that came out of yesterday's episode was a remodel, a remaster, and enhancement of Cut Lawquane. Not only visually and animation-wise, which the VFX artist did a tremendous job with, but also the character too. His family grew, he himself grew, and it was time for him to leave Seleucami once and for all and find a new home. A home that was hopefully outside the jurisdiction of the newly formed Empire. You saw how much trouble he was in just at the start of the Empire since he was a clone deserter. This is one of the biggest topics in today's video because this clone deserter, Cut Lawquane, avoided something that we thought ordinary clones just could not. Before the Clone Wars Season 7, we all suspected that Captain Rex at the very least avoided Order 66 somehow. Alas, we saw that it was not so. He effectively executed Order 66 and almost killed Ahsoka. Now with the Bad Batch, we see a different tale altogether. We see that every clone on Collar did execute Order 66 except for the Bad Batch. So to make matters worse, even within the Bad Batch, there was Crosshair, who felt conflicted for some reason. His inhibitor chip was somewhat activated, although not all the way through. All these guys were present for Order 66. They were active in the war, but what happened with Cut Lawquane? Why didn't Cut Lawquane execute Order 66 or even give it a thought? As we see in episode 2, Cut Lawquane didn't even know what the dang thing was. Even when Captain Rex came by and talked about the inhibitor chips, he had no clue what Rex was talking about or about Order 66. How is this possible? Why didn't an ordinary clone, Cut Lawquane, did not execute Order 66? So in the second episode, Clone Force 99, now without Crosshair, who betrayed them, and not only was his chip activated, but was reinvigorated by Tarkin himself. Together with Omega, they fled Kamino and sought out shelter from an old friend, Cut Lawquane. Cut Lawquane was first introduced in the second season of the Clone Wars. He was a deserter from the Republic Army and settled down with his Twi'lek wife, Sue Lawquane, and her two children, Shia and Jack. We see that in the Clone Wars series, his decision to abandon the Republic doesn't sit well with Captain Rex, who discovers Cut. But in time, Rex comes to understand that Cut Lawquane has found something he wants to fight for more than the Republic, and that is his family. Cut's choice is unusual to understand for a clone. It is at that point that Dave Filoni hints that Cut Lawquane has more of an independent streak within him, more than anybody, more than any other clone before him. So is this independency enough to defy Order 66? As I said, the gang learns that Rex was just yesterday at Cut Lawquane's house. Not only that, but Rex revealed to Cut the existence of the inhibitor chip, which is what allowed the Empire to take control via the clones with Order 66. It's likely that Rex told Cut about the chip as a warning to get his removed, since as a regular, unmodified clone, Cut Lawquane surely has a chip inside his head, just like the others. And yet, believe it or not, Cut was obviously unaffected by Order 66. Even when Rex flat out told him about Order 66, he did not react in a negative manner. In the second episode, it does not seem that it affected him at all. He had no idea what this was. By watching the 7th season of the Clone Wars and also the Bad Batch, the first episode, we know that the chip is integral to the Empire's control over the clones. So this means that the actual execute Order 66 command is still needed for the clone to hear as a necessary trigger. In addition to Palpatine appearing to holo communications to various clone commanders such as Commander Cody and such, Tech says in the first episode that their comm channels are repeating only one directive: execute Order 66. So this is how all the other clones that were not shown receiving Palpatine's message were still triggered in their mind to execute Order 66. In the case of Clone Force 99, their mutations prevented the Order from brainwashing their mind, although as it would seem, Crosshair was not as successful with his mutation. So in a sense, even Crosshair was affected by Order 66, but as an ordinary clone, Cut was not. Without receiving the direct command, execute Order 66, it seems that Cut Lawquane's inhibitor chip isn't triggered. As the order has already been given and has worked, it's doubtful that the Empire would ever need to resend it. Even if they did, it's unlikely that the order would reach Cut Lawquane on Seleucami, where he is cut off from all communication. What's more is that Order 66 doesn't function exactly the same as other trigger phases do in pop culture, like for example with the Winter Soldier in the MCU, where anyone with a trigger phase can activate the subject. Order 66 seems to be a command that could only be given by Palpatine himself, meaning that Cut Lawquane runs little risk of his chip being accidentally triggered in the future, since again, he has no communication with anybody. Even when Rex told him about Order 66, it was somehow not activated in Cut Lawquane's mind. Therefore, it is quite possible that only the voice of Palpatine through holo communication or holo video can activate the order. That being said, were Cut to somehow encounter the Order 66 command and have it activate his chip, there's still a chance that he might resist that impulse altogether. While it was very, very rare, we saw some clones fighting against Order 66. This is exactly what happens with Rex. At the beginning, he very much tries to resist Order 66. His eyes are twitching and he tells Ahsoka to find fives, with Cut Lawquane showcasing even more independence than Captain Rex by abandoning the Republic altogether, abandoning his programming, and creating a family. This might indicate that Cut Lawquane, even if he heard execute Order 66, it could very possibly be that he just was not fazed by the order. And in canon, it seems that Cut Lawquane was the first one to completely ignore Order 66. It's very interesting to know that Cut Lawquane just did not care about anything to such an extent that even the inhibitor chips did not affect him. Right now, we only can speculate, but we do know that Cut Lawquane did hear the words Order 66 and inhibitor chip from Captain Rex and did not affect him. This might have been very telling for Cut Lawquane and his resilience. Of course, we can't confirm it without Dave Filoni, so hopefully another episode or an explanation in an interview from the guy himself. Who knows? Guys, what do you think? Did Cut Lawquane resist Order 66, or did he just completely skip it, not hearing about it at all? Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next episode, and may the Force be with you until then.